Hierarchy exists everywhere. We first learn about hierarchy non-verbally in our family of origin. Hierarchy is defined as a system where persons or things are ranked one above the other. Tradition in many societies has invited or demanded, however you choose to look at this, that the man hold the most dominant role in a given system, especially in the system we're born into, the household. And over time, we've defined this system as patriarchy. Many people have an aversion to this word or what it represents, a dominance or a power over in the world. As we grow up, we start to find hierarchy everywhere, in our schools, at restaurants, certainly at work, where it can be most pronounced. And as we take our perspective and continue to zoom out, we arrive at government systems and multinational systems, etc. In section 4, we talked about the law of requisite variety, the one in the system whose most flexible is most dominant. Well, what does this really mean in relation to hierarchy? Simply this: being in relationship versus being right. We feel challenged with any hierarchy when the one at the top says, my way or the highway. This way of engaging with others certainly isn't flexible, may give the experience to others of a power over dynamic, and most importantly, leaves trust out of the equation. I saw this poster once and it said, trust equals reliability plus delight. I love that. Well, reliability is an obvious one. Reliability conveys responsibility, accountability, predictability. We need reliability in any system. Parts relying on other parts working together for a common goal, whether at the office, the family, the group to which you belong, your car, all of it. Every part relies on every other part, and when a part breaks or gets worn out, then we can easily replace that flat tire or crashed hard drive. In some cases, maybe it's just a small puncture from a random nail, and we can use the tire in a can approach or the tire in a can solution to seal that puncture. And we're good to go. Though maybe a little more vigilant along the way, making sure, double checking on the tire, pulling over. Or maybe we reboot the laptop and commit to regularly backing up our files after we experienced a hard drive crash, just in case it happens again. We become more vigilant because we're scared of being caught off guard. We hold the just in case stance because we're worried or anxious it might happen again. If we get another flat tire that same week or blue screen twice in one day, we start to question our investment in the relationship to that particular thing. Maybe it's time to get a whole new set of tires or buy a brand new laptop. Our investment is what comes into question. Do we really want to invest $700 on new tires? Do we really want to spend $3,000 on a new laptop? Maybe we should just get a new hard drive. Our investment is the scale on which we measure reliability or trust to that particular item or experience or person. I once went to India and brought my work phone with me. For whatever reason, I didn't realize it would be a fortune to download data and text, and I kept connected to the people I needed to be at the office. My boss came up to me weeks after my trip and said, hey, by the way, your cell phone bill when you went to India was $1,500. Just so you know, I took care of it with the higher-ups when questioned. But next time you go to India, can you please be a lot more careful and mindful of your usage? At that moment, my trust for my boss shot through the roof because the story I told myself is that he went to bat for me, that he stood up for me, and I felt safe with him. Well, a year later, that very same boss refused to grant me the $10,000 offered by our company to go to graduate school. And I was shocked because it didn't even come out of our department. At that time, the story I told myself was that there was no longer any value in this relationship for me because he didn't value me as an employee. And interestingly enough, I left the company shortly thereafter. So remember the equation? Trust equals reliability plus delight. In the first story, I was delighted that my boss went to bat for me, or so I thought. And that led me to believe that I could count on him, for him to back me up with my job. My trust for him increased exponentially after that incident. In the second story, just a year later, I was so upset with him that I wasn't granted the funds, and this led me to believe that my boss was incredibly unjust, and ultimately that I couldn't rely on his support, and I couldn't rely on him helping me to grow my career, and thus my trust for him plummeted. Trust is a scale, not a switch we turn on or off with a flick of an emotion. Different experiences measure differently, and different people weigh differently in our lives. Think of it this way. If you're already swayed to distrust more readily, then your scale of trust is automatically set to require more weight to be swayed toward trust. And simultaneously, if you're generally swayed to trust more readily, then your scale is automatically set to require less weight to be swayed toward distrust. So, if trust is a measurement, and the variable of that measurement is based on a story, how do we begin to shift our trust? How do we begin to trust others? What is the evidence we need to see to tell ourselves that they are in fact trustworthy? And how much do we trust ourselves? Are we seeking trust in others because there are parts of us that we don't trust yet? When we begin to change our story, that is our perspective to the situation, we open up many other options available to us. I once heard someone say, the possibilities I was not able to imagine were always better than those I was able to conjure. Staying in relationship creates a power with dynamic rather than needing to be right, which creates a power over dynamic. This new paradigm welcomes the invitation of placing a different measurement of trust on any particular situation, and moves to shifting the traditional power over structure in any given hierarchy to a more relational engagement. The key to a true masterful self-regulator is staying in relationship with others while validating your experience, which is always right.